Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we will be talking about, yes, potentially a winter storm that will be occurring across the northeastern and southeastern portions of Canada, or the United States and Canada respectively. Now, there is another chance for a second system across very similar locations just a few days after this first one, but again, that one is still very, very uncertain. I talked about it yesterday. There's still a chance for a development of a pretty nasty little storm out of that, a nor'easter, if you will. So there's still a lot of stuff to go over and track, but for now, I will be mainly focusing on the first one, which is really ongoing right now across the Great Lakes, but it is still very weak, and it is under the stages, if you will, of intensifying. There are lake effect warnings, there are winter storm warnings, there are winter weather advisories, and probably more will continue to be added on. So let's start talking about this. We have a ton to go over. First off, I do want to say a happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Hopefully you spend it nicely with your family, friends, and whatnot. And I definitely a beautiful holiday. So just wanted to say that. And before we do get into this, if you guys are a new kind of viewer to this channel, or a new subscriber or whatnot, or this is the first time you're seeing this video, consider subscribing, consider liking, right? Obviously check out the channel first, but it does help out a lot if you do subscribe and like the video. So consider doing that. I'm a weather enthusiast. I talk fast. I get excited about the weather. That's what I do, right? Okay. Let me start showing you the radar. So I want to start off with this because, again, this system isn't, far away or anything, or the one I'm talking about. It's already occurring, except there still have been some changes. Notice that right now we are dealing with a bit of a pretty nasty system moving in onto the western United States. Again, this is a very large image because I want to show you the whole kind of entire United States. And notice that that is going on right there. We do have a system into Michigan. You can see that did develop a bit of snow across portions of, or even Wisconsin, northern Illinois. Detroit got a bit of rain. We do have a stretched out cold front, very weak in the mid-Atlantic and southeast, but really the deep south is a bit getting of that thunderstorm activity and even some rain. Nothing severe, but definitely there nonetheless. And notice we do have, yes, as you see, snow flying up here, still relatively weak, unorganized, and we do have your various snow squall warnings from the Environmental Canada on the Canadian side. And look at that, lake effect snow warnings. This is for Erie. Look, potentially up to a foot of snow for folks in Erie. There's definitely a increase in, if you will, of the last several hours. Well, actually, Erie right there is under winter weather advisory. Probably it's a bit less because the lakes are very warm, so that will convert some of that into rain. But the further out, Jamestown and various cities, Corey, Edinburgh, up to a foot of snow is possible. If not, they're very likely. Winter weather advisories for cities like Syracuse, you could see several inches of snow, 3 to 6, maybe even 7. Again, I do think that these are pretty on the lower side. The system is kind of really intensifying in the models, and it's very hard to predict. Everything in the past really week has been hard to predict. Some models showed a nor'easter, some didn't. Some intensified it, some intensified it less, some more. And we do have, various winter storm warnings, 6 to 10 inches in some areas in Maine. We're potentially, again, up to a foot of snow. And again, Augusta, the larger cities further towards the south, maybe not getting in on that, but winter storm watches as far as just north of Bangor, and there probably will be some snow for Bangor and Augusta, just not enough to cause some warnings. Look at that snow squall across Michigan. I loved looking at just these radar bands. So again, we had that system pass through, and look at that. That is very intense. Right, they're really just west of Marquette, Michigan, or I should say just east, and yeah, that is definitely impressive. We do have snow showers starting to develop off the kind of shores of Lake Michigan, and a bit of kind of lake effect, not lake effect, but a bit of drizzle, if you will, slash snow across Wisconsin, and now almost into my area right there, into Chicago. Lansing just got converted into a bit of rain. Again, some light snow is possible, some snow accumulations, and we do have a clipper across Canada that's actually going to be the potential for that nor'easter as we push into Monday and Tuesday of next week. So there's just a ton of information to cover, and I'm just kind of trying to get myself into it, trying to understand it equally as much as I can show to you, but it's going to be hard because there's so much to talk about, so many models. And yeah, I'll just have to tell you that there's a threat for 2 storms, right? Again, the first one is already occurring. I was showing you it on the radar. Right there, you can see there's that cold front, there's that little back of some of that lake effect. That's what you have right now. Notice as I put this 12 6 hours ahead into 12 a.m., what we do have is more rain and more snow. We do have lake effect now. We're pretty much a full intensity off of Lake Michigan at this point, not Erie or Ontario quite yet, but the system does move on towards the shores of really at this point on the extremely eastern shores of Lake Ontario, and we do have more of an intensification. We do have a breakout from the cold front that is way across, or kind of the energy way across the deep south. We do see an intensification. We do see some rain across cities like Boston, New York, and across much of upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire. It is snowing, and it could be snowing pretty heavily. You can see the GFS slows this down. It shows a lot of snow into much of southern Canada, cities like Quebec or Montreal, Ottawa picking up a bit of snow, but especially Quebec. And notice that this thing continues to dump snow across New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, lots of lake effect. This is when it's going to be at its peak Friday, late Friday into early Saturday, and it's going to continue afterwards, but again, it's going to be a bit weaker, and you can see it's going to weaken down out ahead of a clipper, but this thing's still present for southern Canada by the time it is 6 p.m. on Saturday. So it's a long duration event, folks, and that is just the first system. And you may be wondering, okay, when's the second one? It's this little guy. It starts off as a clipper, could drop as much as, several inches across Michigan, 3 to 4 inches, Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, with Green Bay, New York City picking up some snow showers at least. And again, this is where models completely disagree. This is a complete, if you will, it's a complete it's a complete mess. That's the best way to put it politely. And notice that this GFS, it does show, or sorry, the Canadian, does show a bit of snow across the northeast from this model run, and it does intensify that storm into a decent system, but again, it's not really as significant, but still several inches, if not close to a foot, in portions of Maine and Canada, and again, that does develop into a beast as it moves off. After that, we do have lake effect, and it's prolonged lake effect. Here, I'm concerned there could be some extremely heavy lake effect amounts across portions of, Pennsylvania, New York, and whatnot. This could definitely be an event of significant proportions, not anything historic, but I mean, the flow, you could see it's just clipper after clipper, lake effect after lake effect, and we'll have to see, but just to let you guys know that if you don't live in the Northeast and you're not going to be impacted by these systems, you won't have to wait long. The pattern remains very active, and it starts getting more active. And look at that, some wild systems. I mean, very large systems. You can see the Canadian is showing, and you can see it started showing snow more further towards the south. Let's take a look at those total snowfall accumulations through the 10-day outlook. You can see it's a lot centered across southern Canada and the Great Lakes, but let's now just take it storm by storm. So again, the first storm you can see will be dumping decent amounts of snow, especially right there. Look at Maine, Canada, Quebec, up to a foot of snow for you potentially, well over 6 inches, but for sure. Lake effect again. There are lake effect snow warnings for 7 to 12, 7 to 11 inches. I think those are definitely decent, if not even maybe slightly conservative amounts. And then we have that that attack of clippers, and that again could form that second system, which the Canadian does, and you can see it does dump over a foot of snow in total with that first system additionally added to it. Here you can see you can have a snow cover, a snowpack of over a foot over Maine and a good portion of Michigan. Look at that. This one shows up to several inches of snow across Detroit. Again, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe these clippers will dive further towards the south into Illinois, Indiana. Maybe they'll stay even north of Detroit. Maybe just affecting Detroit with rain and cities along. Maybe Lansing seeing a bit more snow or a bit less. And whether or not that stays to the north or south directly affects how that nor'easter potential may occur. And you can see that the pattern starts acting up again in the long range. GFS, this is another model. Again, we can't just look at one. Unfortunately, that would be convenient, but let me just show you. It's a 15, kind of almost 14-day outlook of snow. You can see it's definitely snowy. It shows a lot of energy across the west, which will directly contribute to the activity across further towards the east. Let me now show you what this one shows. Yeah, look at that. Look, that is massive. That is definitely an active pattern. But again, for now, we have this system. So again, that's the one I showed you on the radar. It's occurring right now. As we push this forward, it does strengthen, does drop quite a bit of snow across Canada. Look at that. A large area of potentially maybe even 400 miles of just of snow. The U.S. and southern Canada will be on the southern tip of that, but it's going to be kind of where the heaviest of that snow is falling in that band, and you can see that stays around for quite a while. We do see that clipper passing through Detroit, Cleveland, Erie, Pittsburgh, into even New York City. You're again potentially picking up a bit of snow. Lake effect does again get turned on by that clipper, and you can see that the GFS with its latest model run doesn't show that nor'easter occurring really in our viewable area. It does develop it just again further off the coast, and such a minute difference, but that can mean the world of a difference. If it's a Canadian scenario, that means several inches for Maine and the Northeast. If it's a GFS, not much. It still does show an active pattern. You can see clipper after clipper after clipper, and a very active pattern following that. Look at this one. Look at it shows right there. System that drops snow all the way into Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, southern Pennsylvania, along the northeast coast, and boom, look at that is just massive. And then it continues to be active, especially with all that moisture. That is like a superstorm across California. There are more and more models showing insane amounts of moisture for the south, west, and west. That would be honestly good though. They need that rain. And if you're to take a look at that total precip, you could see that that would dump a lot of rain, and again that they need that, but again it's not consistent enough. If you're to take a look at the noon model run, it's relatively empty here, and a lot more precip here that some of that is falling as snow. Look at this one. Look what the one 12 hours ago showed, or 6 hours before. I mean, that's an insanely active pattern. The newest one doesn't show as much. It just kind of delays it. The one at 6 shows something even different. So again, just aside from these several nor'easters, I think this early December will be just absolutely crazy with storms. Let me show you the European. This is a very good model, and again, I'll show you those two systems and show you what this model thinks of that. Again, there's our first storm. You can see that the European does develop a lot of snow into Canada, into even the Maine, maybe even Boston getting in on some of that, Connecticut, Hartford, and then we have that little clipper again, snow for Cleveland, Detroit first, right, the Midwest, and then it does develop into a system. The European though keeps it more of the Canadian scenario, keeps it kind of off the shore, and keeps it weaker. Sorry, not Canadian. More agrees with the GFS. So the European and GFS more in agreement. The Canadian not so much. Again for that second one, but for that first one, definitely showing a lot of precipitation in terms of snow and really rain. But total snowfall, let's take a glance at this. Look at that. That's from that first system. We're right. You can see decent amounts across much of Maine, New Hampshire, 7, 8, 9, 10 inches. Quebec, potentially 8. Montreal or Ottawa, not really seeing much, but definitely maybe, at least some snow. Though you could see this definitely is an impressive storm that is almost vertically stacking the snow in terms of altitude. And, or sorry, not altitude, or longitude, or latitude, that's what I meant to say. And you can see that the European does show an active pattern with some sort of a system occurring, developing snow further towards the south in a longer range. So yes, things look extremely active, folks. They're definitely something we'll have to keep an eye on for. I could show you the NAM 12 This is a high-res model that goes out to 84 hours. This only manages to show us really that first system, not really even that second one. Come on, I want to show you the time this out for you. Radar range / frozen. Here again, you can see there it is. There's that clipper, that second one. And it does try developing something out of it, but we'll have to see what it does. There's that first one, though, and you can see what it does with it, right? Again, this isn't to tonight. This is immediate. This will definitely be occurring in the next, several hours, and we'll have to see how this unfolds. A lot of snow for New York, New Hampshire. You can see it even shows quite a bit for Boston right there, several hours on Friday, so that's tomorrow. More snow, and then it finally pivots away, gives way to that clipper. Here, again, I already showed you the total snowfall, but you can see it definitely decent amounts. RGEM, the Canadian high-res, it shows quite a bit more actually for portions of the Northeast with its scenario. Let's take it out to 84, and you can see right there that those are definitely impressive amounts. I do think it's underdoing some of the lake effect, and the lake effect is very hard to predict. You're right, but we'll have to wait and see how this kind of unfolds precisely with the lake effect bands. We could take a look at some of the high-res models, but even with the high-res models, the lake effect it's very hard to predict exactly how it will unfold. And I could show you some ensembles, which again are like a group of family members that are numerous, and they kind of show us whether or not a system would be a trend, or if it's agreed upon. And that's what we look on for these type of situations when we have some models agreeing, some disagreeing. Let's take a look at this random ensemble. 42. Look at this. Boom. It shows that first system again, pretty intense. The closest thing we've gotten to a nor'easter this year for sure. There's that little clipper. Let's see what it does. That's that second storm potential. And boom, it does clip Boston, New York City with a bit of snow, and into portions of Maine with a bit more snow. And it kind of takes that away. But if we were to take a look at another ensemble, you could see that not all agree. Look at this one. It does show a nor'easter, or it develops one just way off the shore, and it doesn't really affect the areas that I'm really more concerned about. There's that first one though, and again, most models are showing that first storm pretty strongly, and again, there has been an intensification in the last several hours. Look at that, boom! Almost every single model run. It's just that second storm that the models are a bit less consistent on. Let's take a look at P25. Again, just another random ensemble. Look at that, boom! There's that first storm. It shows snow into Worcester, right? And Massachusetts, Connecticut, and then there's that second one. This one shows a pretty strong clipper. Let's see if it shows a nor'easter. Well, it does show snow for the coastal cities a bit, and then it takes that off. So that's definitely a potential snow system. Take a look at model 39. Again, a random model. Look at that first one. That is definitely impressive, folks. It has definitely gotten more impressive in the last few hours. Literally, the last few hours. That's how quick the forecast is changing. There's that clipper. Very intense as it moves through the Great Lakes, and nothing really results of it for the Northeast. Let's take a look at the control. This is kind of like the main one, I guess. Look at that. Boom, boom. Big system. That's a massive one. There's that clipper. Potential for that second one. It doesn't do much with it. P1. Let's take a look at this. There's that storm, that first one, and there's that second one. Again, doesn't do much with it. But you can see that this is just through hour 96, and we have so much stuff to talk about. And as we push this forward, we have continued storms, continued clippers, continued events. Look at that one right there. Look at this, potentially another nor'easter. It does look very conducive though for clippers, Miller B type nor'easters, where it basically a clipper develops from a clipper comes through, takes moisture from Atlantic, and develops into nor'easter. I mean, just look how much systems this one shows for the Northeast alone. Right now, again, you can see it does start getting active for the rest portions of the country towards the long range. And as you saw with the newest model run of the GFS, there's some that show absurd amount of moisture streaming through the Southwest, and that would give way to more large systems across the Midwest. Like, look at this scenario. Boom, that's a beast. Boom, I mean, that's a monster. There's another system that starts forming, so we'll just have to wait and see, folks. For now, this is all I have for you, but definitely a lot of activity in the long range, but we do have these systems to talk about more in the short range. But again, a lot of this stuff, even though we do have these warnings, these things that are already up, and it's really not that far away, if you will. You're right. I mean, it's the matter of just an hours before this starts taking place. Some of these amounts may be conservative across some of these locations. 3 to 6, and maybe much higher across these locations. Especially here, I'm kind of concerned. They show 4 to 7. I do think there could be some double-digit amounts easily. Same thing with the lake effect, as maybe not even just from this event, but there could be just event after event after event, and then we do probably see an inevitable warm-up that could cause some flooding. So there are some concerns with such a system, and you can see, I mean, Jamestown right there, boom. 6 to 11 inches. That's a lot of snow, folks. All right. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you all on the next episode. See ya.